398 fights and never once knocked down. Kazakhstan's man of iron, he conquered boxing with heavy hands and pure character. The man most worthy of representing the dignity and class of the sport. Triple G Golovkin. Today let's look at his story. 2003. Golovkin had just stepped onto the amateur championship stage when he ran into a future world champion, Lucian Butte. His southpaw counterpunching style was slick and awkward. The young Golovkin couldn't break through and even got put on a standing count. But even then, the young Golovkin was already showing his iron will. He ate dozens of heavy shots and stayed on his feet. And in the fourth round, he landed a perfect right hand that dropped his man to the canvas. Golovkin didn't just win the fight, he won the whole tournament. And the next year, he took Olympic silver. After reaching the peak of the amateur ranks, Golovkin turned professional. He tore off 9 straight wins, 8 by stoppage, and captured the WBA belt. Then he went after another organization, the IBO title. A subtle slip of the head, a left hook, and his man was in a deep sleep. The pro wins were coming too easily, so Golovkin set his sights on America. In 2012 at 30, he arrived on HBO. His opponent, a 29-1 knockout artist. The man was genuinely tough, but Golovkin's hammers came down blow after blow on his head and his body. He survived to the 4th before he was dropped. The fight went on, but in the 5th, he was beaten straight down, crawling on the canvas. Golovkin owned the night on HBO once again. 2013. Golovkin welcomed a Japanese challenger, a fighter whose career had also never seen the canvas. In the very first round, Golovkin drilled the new defense he'd picked up in America. In the second, he opened up with the hammers. The Japanese man was truly tough. He took those huge shots and asked for more. So Golovkin had no choice but to oblige, with even heavier hammers. Finally, in the third round, he completely knocked out the man who'd never been down. His next fight, he beat his opponent like he'd seen a ghost. The man had never felt hammers like that. Golovkin was named Fighter of the Year by The Ring. He'd piled up a terrifying 26-0. Now he'd defend both his WBA and IBO titles at once. The challenger, a European champion, built on nimble footwork and a looping windmill, right? But Golovkin's sledgehammer right hand tore that windmill apart in a hurry. Finally, with one brutal body shot, he sent his man down to a painful defeat. His next opponent came from Australia, a man who had once held 2 titles in this division. But against Golovkin's wall-like stone fortress defense and his sledgehammer offense, this opponent couldn't survive 3 rounds. Golovkin was on a different level from everyone else. His opponent's shots couldn't crack his guard, while his counters blasted them apart. This was win number 30, KO number 27. Next fight, Golovkin went after the interim WBC title. His opponent, a champion out of Mexico, a nation built on pure pressure fighting. But Golovkin's frame was too solid, his punches too vicious, his defense too calm. Now he started showing off all kinds of strange, tricky angles on his hooks, sometimes flying up from below, sometimes dropping from above. The top of his opponent's head had never taken shots from these angles, leaving them rocked and caught completely off guard. At 32, Golovkin had finally reached the peak of his career. He put one man after another to sleep, but it wasn't until 2015 that he became a true superstar. He faced the IBF title holder, battered him for 8 straight rounds, and left even the referee stunned in disbelief. Finally, the fight was stopped. Golovkin now held 4 titles, and in this fight, he finally earned a multi-million-dollar purse. His next mandatory challenger couldn't make it past 2 rounds, and remember that man was undefeated too. 2017. A 34-year-old Golovkin, after 9 straight years of KOs, won by decision for the very first time. Thankfully, in his next fight, he kept his no KO, no fight motto alive and knocked his man out again. The opponent after that was a 19-0 prospect from Canada. This fighter actually landed on Golovkin in the exchanges and even took Golovkin's counters without going down. But in the 4th round, a locked-in Golovkin still got the KO. 2017. A 35-year-old Golovkin met the 27-year-old Canelo Alvarez. The two of them began a 5-year epic 3-fight saga. Canelo was a superstar of the sport, a longtime fixture atop the pound-for-pound list. 49 wins, 34 KOs, his only loss to Mayweather. He had devastating power, excellent head movement, and a granite chin. At 35, Golovkin had finally found an opponent who matched his level. The two were like a pair of fully armored bulls, giving everything yet barely scratching each other, because both men's defense and durability were stacked sky high. Even in super slow motion, you couldn't find the secret to it. But Golovkin was clearly the better man. He landed more effective shots, his defense was more mature, his pressure was greater, and he held the driver's seat longer. Yet the judges ruled it a draw, a result that sparked fierce controversy that year. At least Golovkin walked away with a $20 million purse. But their rematch was delayed because Alvarez tested positive, blamed on Mexican beef. The rematch waited a full year. Alvarez was clearly far better prepared. He refused to take a single step back, like a furious Red Bull. That raging savage style pinned Golovkin down for several rounds. It wasn't until the third round that Golovkin sounded the counterattack. By the 11th round, Alvarez's bull rush pressure style had fully exposed his stamina problems. He was almost completely overwhelmed by Golovkin. By the 12th round, Alvarez had even lost his balance. But Golovkin chose that very moment to hold his fire. He met his opponent with mercy. Yet the judges once again refused to score it fairly for him. This time it wasn't even a draw. Golovkin was ruled the loser outright. The judges stripped Golovkin of all his belts and of his unbeaten record. As a consolation, he got a $30 million check. Across Golovkin's long career, he faced many obstacles. No big names. The top stars all avoided him. The judges' decisions, opponents draining weight, and on, all of it weighed on him. But flip through the entire history of boxing, and you'll struggle to find a second man who turned in a record like his. He fought 398 pro and amateur bouts from his teenage years all the way to the age of 40, decades inside the ropes, and no one ever knocked him down. But beyond his iron chin and his heavy hands, what's even more striking is his character. He never humiliated a beaten opponent. After every fight, he was always among the first to embrace his rival. He endured the controversies with Alvarez, countless decisions against him, with everyone crying foul on his behalf. Yet he never blamed, never attacked. He just quietly sharpened his craft and waited for the next fight. Today, he's gone from ring warrior to president of Kazakhstan's National Olympic Committee, still burning the last of his fire for the world of sport.